Happy Fragrant Friday, fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a new, Shanghai got it this week, review. I hope you are doing well. This is episode 182. This is TCG, That Cologne Guy. I am Ben, and every single Friday I enjoy bringing you new content. And I also love to wish you a happy Fragrant Friday. What is your scent of the day? Let us know in comments. I always enjoy that part as well. So happy Fragrant Friday to you. I hope you are doing well. You have seen the title and the description. And so you, of course, know that this is one-man show. Before I dive in the review, let me quickly say, since last Friday, yet again, my friends, we have had an utter avalanche, a tsunami. I'll even pronounce the T in there. I won't say tsunami. A tsunami worth of new subscribers, and I really do appreciate that a lot. I am a small yet spirited, unbiased, and fully independent, non-sponsored small channel on YouTube, and I really appreciate all of you guys telling me what is working, how I can improve, etc. So if this is your first episode, welcome to That Cologne Guy. I am Ben. I really appreciate you checking out my channel. And we, this week, are celebrating the 900 subscriber mark, so I really appreciate that. It means a lot. So we are going to have a lot of fun in this episode because this is one-man show. And what I'd like to say right off the bat is this was sent in by subscriber Brian. So subscriber Brian, in his eternal quest to get me to like Chypres, he has sent this in, or I should say, because some of them are fougères. I will say he wants me to enjoy more of the late 70s, early 80s fragrances, and I am indeed trying. I have gone on record in saying that SAR, which was I think 89 by Van Cleef and Arpels, is one of the worst fragrances I've ever come across, and I know that that is just beyond sacrilegious and unacceptable in frag.com, but it's true for me. Okay, this is all subjective, mind you. So he sent this in, and he wanted to get my reaction. And if you recall last week, so it's been a while since I've actually been in front of the camera because Dr. Goo and I at Locked Sense, we did the live stream, and then for 5 days later, it was my link. So my episode last week was just reminding you guys to check out that show that we had done a while back. So this is my first time in a while, actually, that I'm in front of the camera, and I'm really enjoying this one. He sent this in, and so let's give this a full review, unbiased review, of course. So right off the bat, what you notice is it says highly concentrated, which I like. And the house is Jacques Bogart. So a little bit of the house. I don't have too much to say about the name. The house, of course, it is Jacques as Jack in for French. And then, of course, it is, you do not pronounce the T at the end. So that would be, it would not be Bogart. It'd be Bogart if you want to impress your friends or not. So this is a house from Paris. So this is a French house, of course. And what they said was, here's a quote from their site that I thought was interesting. It says, since its creation, the house, Jacques Bogart, in 1975, it has continued to assert its position in a very masculine world where virility and strength of character reign. Is that really the case? Stay tuned and find out. They go on to say, Je ne crée que pour l'homme, which translate as I create only for men. And so that's a quote from Jacques Bogart himself. Interesting to know that, to my knowledge, they don't have unisex and they don't have feminine or perfume, right, marketed towards women. These are all fragrances for men. So right off the bat, I thought about wearing, I thought about breaking out my gold chains for you guys and, showing off the chest. The thing is with the chest hair, I'm only going to make that available to my OnlyFans and Patreon and VIP. That's the way I roll. So it's not going to happen. All right. So if you want to go over there and go to www.imjustmakingthatup.com and check it out. So this one is One Man Show. It's from 1980. So we are right in the heart of late 70s and early 80s, of course. So we are a miracle on ice for the ice hockey fans, of course, when USA beat Russia, or the USSR in hockey. And this one is going to be, again, a this is par for course when it comes to that period. So this is highly brash. There's a lot of arrogance. There's a lot of confidence. There's a lot of virility. And I certainly feel like buttoning down my shirt a little bit and playing some DGs and BGs. In fact, I'll just walk down the street later on listening to Staying Alive. I mean, it's got to happen, right? It's got to happen. You do it while you're watching this episode, actually. It feels good. So that is, right off the bat, we're looking at something masculine, we're looking at something French, and we're looking at something 1980, okay? So be mindful of that, because I'm going to come back to that. The batch code is 19F26, and that takes us to June of 2019. So this is a 2019 batch, and it, of course, is a classic, which means if it has things like animalic fragrance or notes in them and oak moss, it's probably going to be, quote unquote, a lot more, changed or evolved or watered down. So a lot of people who have tried this from the inception might not like the new version. I don't know, because this is the first time I've ever smelled it, but I have a feeling that's the case, because a lot of those notes were taken out during the European Commission when they got rid of, or made, how do I want to say this? This has castoreum in it, and that is an animalic note. So castoreum refers to beaver, and it used to be musk, and it used to be authentic. So if it sounds gross, it was. The good news for animal lovers is since the European Commission has banned that, now they have to change and use synthetic notes that smell like castoreum, for example, or any other animalic note. And so this has to have been reformulated probably many times. So here we go. One thing I like is they have, for 100 milliliter, they actually put 3.33 fluid ounces. One thing that's kind of odd about the U.S. is that because we use fluid ounces, some companies put 3.3 and some put 3.4, which I think is odd. This puts 3.33 fluid ounces. So for the type A perfectionists out there, you will particularly like that. One thing I do want to say right off the bat that's not the most positive is it comes with an aftershave balm that's alcohol free, which I love. It's very rare that perfume companies offer aftershave balms that are indeed alcohol-free. So this one is, but when I opened it, you hardly get any at all. I'm squeezing it fairly tightly. I just got a little bit out earlier, but I will say it says 3 milliliters, but there is just a little tiny amount in this one. So whatever you do, and it doesn't smell like the fragrance, by the way. It almost smells like fragrance free. So I would say if this comes with it, great, but I would certainly not seek that one. I was a little bit disappointed, actually, because there's hardly anything in there at all. Let's get to the bottle, though. We again have One Man Show, and it says here, and then it's got the information down below on the bottle. Now, at Fragrance Net, I don't know if it was a 50 milliliter or 100 milliliter, but I did see that it was as cheap as $11. I'm assuming it's a 50 milliliter, but either way, this is a cheapie. Okay, so with the name of the fragrance and the house out of the way, let me quickly talk about the fragrance family in which this fragrance lies. The reason why is because we've talked a lot in the past about things like fougères, which of course means fern or fern-like. There are many terms in the fragrance world that are French. So this one is no different. This one is CHYPRE, so it looks like Kuiper or Chyper in English, but it's actually pronounced Chypre. So this is a Chypre, a classic Chypre. And what does that mean? So what's interesting is this does not refer to the cypress tree. This refers to the island of Cyprus. So that's different, right? Because you guys have watched me, and you know that a lot of times I've mentioned Sicily and Sardinia, which are two of the two largest islands in the Mediterranean. And of course, Cyprus is the third largest island in the Mediterranean. It is half Greek and half Turkish. So on one side of the island they speak Greek, on the other side of the island they speak Turkish. And it is known for a very dry, arid climate, and so it has, and it also has and is known for aromatic plants. So the first known reference to the island in terms of fragrances was the 18th century in French perfume manuals. And so that's why we're saying we're not referring to the cypress tree, we are referring to the island of Cyprus. So that this is a chypre, and of course, again, refers to this notion of the island, and its aromatic plants. Typically, it has three characteristics, which is in the top notes, it has citrus. The mid notes, it has labdanum, which is a rock rose plant, and then it ends off with oak moss. So you need to know that because, well, no fragrance is blind buy safe anyway, but chypres are really not blind buy safe at all. Chypres are a very specific class, and of course it has like 15 subdivisions, right? You're thinking of the Rush song, I know that. But it does. It has like 15 subgroups when it comes to chypres. There are all kinds of chypres, just like there are all kinds of citrus aromatics. So what's interesting, and then I would also add in the base notes too. Besides oak moss, it oftentimes has a very animalic quality. In fact, subscriber Brian sent me a description of a chypre, and it included a term I liked, which was a mossy animalic, and I like that because you're going to get a very strong oak moss, very strong, oftentimes animalic or leather to it. And that's important because I know what you're thinking, and you are right. We are edging very, very close to Koros and our late 70s, early 80s carpets that smell like cat piss, and smoking and leather, and it's a very late 70s concept here. The point you need to know, though, is this is nowhere near a blind buy worthy, just because, well, no fragrances, like I said. Be careful with the chypres. They are a very distinct smell. Some people love them. If I say things like, I don't like a particular, it's for an old folks home, I will get people who will immediately unsubscribe. It is sacrilegious to say that some chypres are bad. It just is, because they have an ardent following. I am not part of that following, and that's again why I think Brian is trying to get me over into the chypre side. So that is that. You really need to know the angle from which this house is creating this work before you talk about, get into notes and longevity, all that stuff, because that will dictate everything. If you don't like chypres, you will not like this one. So really what I get is I get a few things, but let me just say now, go to Fragrantica. You'll see, if I were to read all the notes in this fragrance, it would be about a 20-minute read, okay? This has probably the most or second most. One of the Amouages also did. It might have been Jubilation 25, but this one has a ton of notes. This is probably the number one or number two as far as the amount of notes that I have had in one fragrance. I definitely get bergamot. Then I get pine tree needles, and then I get oak moss. In the base, I get oak moss, cedar, and castoreum. So again, we're going back to the castoreum referring to beaver. So this is a musk. This is an animalic note. I really have a strong desire, actually, to go to a Bee Gees concert and wear this, because it really takes me back. Kiss put out Dynasty in 1979, okay, and the big single from that album was I Was Made for Loving You. You like the song, you say you don't, you do. You know what? I think I'm going to play that song after this and wear this. I need to. It needs to happen. Come on. They're very dated fragrances, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. So, you probably, for the guys in their 20s out there, you're probably thinking of even your grandpa wearing these fragrances, because they're going to be certainly taking back to the time of, again, virility, strength of character, masculine. We don't have any unisex, no perfumes at all in this house along those kinds of lines. Some people really do appreciate a strict division there. They like men's colognes and women's perfumes. Other people think, everything is unisex, wear what you like. And that's kind of where we are now in Frag Com. So those are the notes, and now let me talk about the longevity. Good God, I don't care if it's a couple days ago. It was in the feels like category. It was 108 degrees. This thing, you will have no problems with longevity. In fact, your biggest problem will be go easy on the trigger. So longevity was pretty much off the charts. It was probably I don't know if I want to say 12 plus. I will say 10 to 12 though, an easy 10 to 12 hours. So you will absolutely get a work shift plus happy hour, which is always a good thing. So this one lasts forever in a day. This one is very, very close, in fact, to beast mode. I don't know if I would quite say that, but it is awfully close. So 10 to 12 hours on longevity, and it projects very well almost during the entire time. Again, this is a brash fragrance. This is not for the meek or the timid. So you will want to, be watching Boogie Nights and walking in. And, the women always, when they talk about what they like in men, they always say like they like a man's presence when he walks into a room. Okay, if you're looking to make an impression and have a presence about you when you walk into a room, oh my. Look no further, because it might not be a good impression, but you will make an impression, and it will be unforgettable. That is for sure. So projection is about 6 to 8 hours, and then the final 3 or 4 hours really gets relatively close to the skin. But seriously, for the compliment, people who want to get attention, you will get it with that. So again, your biggest concern here in this fragrance will be going easy on the trigger and not the opposite. And then sillage is also outstanding. So again, when you're coming in into rooms at parties, walking by people, leaving a scent trail, they will indeed pick that up. I have to tell you, I got a ridiculously high amount. I always get, it's not that I don't like this one. I always get compliments on the ones that I kind of like or don't like at all. I do kind of like this one. But what I'm saying is, like, the ones I absolutely love, I rarely get unsolicited compliments. Man in Black is an exception to that, though. So yet again, on the ones I don't like or kind of like, I got a whopping 5 unsolicited compliments. That's crazy. Okay, that's off the charts. So kudos to this fragrance for that. Okay, so that was longevity, projection, and sillage. Now that we have that out of the way, let me quickly talk about gender. So if we have here our non-sponsored, highly technical continuum, Lucky Scent continuum, we have, of course, feminine, we have unisex, and then we have masculine over here. We are right over here, my friends. We are in the uber masculine category. So you're looking about 95% of the people who own this will be men, and 5% will be women. This is a clearly a masculine scent, especially a vintage one, and clearly from a certain era. So that is a clear 95-5 split on gender. Now let's talk age. So here there are really two camps here. I think there are two groups of people that would like this. Number one would be any age, but that you like chypres. Okay, there are a lot of people out there, as I have found out in the past, that really like chypres. So regardless of age, if you like chypres, especially vintage, dated smelling classics, then you will like that. Other than that, though, I would say this is a 50 and up fragrance. I think most people who have this as their signature or who really enjoy this fragrance will be 50 and up. Because I say that because for two reasons. Number one is it's because they remember that era. Okay, and they liked the fragrances during that time, and they want to keep wearing fragrances like that. Okay, the other group will be just because, again, they like the very clear masculine animalic oak moss scent. So one of the things you see when people talk about a fragrance like this is the old folks' home. Okay, so let's talk about that. Does this have a grandpa smell? We have to be very careful. Okay, so you're going to boo me for a second and then you'll start cheering me. Okay, the first half hour, this one really does smell like an old folks home. It really does. It has a very strong grandpa-ish smell, and I see the dirty looks. Just hold on here. Okay, so So to me, the first half hour is this incredibly pungent urinal cake. Clearly, we are clearly into the urinal cakes realm here in the first half hour. We are. So we have very clear urinal cakes, and I do feel like we're getting toward the old folks' home. It is a grandpa-ish scent, without the shadow of a doubt. In fact, the frag-com dudes out there in their late teens, early 20s and stuff, they're going to scoff at something like this probably because they're not going to like that smell. They're going to associate it with, again, older people. Now, the good news, though, is that after the first half hour, it really settles down into something very nice. In fact, this one actually has a very strong come-from-behind victory for me. When I first sprayed it in the air, when I got it, I didn't think I was going to like this one, especially after the first half hour. I really didn't think I was going to like this one. I thought we were going to go the Tsar by Van Cleef and Arpels route, which I don't like. The rose... The 70s, the Koros, the 70s carpet, and, cat piss smells, I just don't like them. And I thought we were going to go down that route. I have to say, though, this really evolves well on my skin after the first half hour. And one thing I will say about this, probably because it has so many notes, I do like the fact that it has a different type of development each time I wear it. Sounds a bit corny, it sounds a bit cringe-worthy, but it is true, actually, and I do like that about this fragrance. It has personality and has a slightly different interaction with my body's chemistry each time I have worn it. Kudos to them. Like I said, I got mad unsolicited compliments with this fragrance, probably the most I think I've ever received in such a short amount of time. That's not fair, okay? But hey, people like what they like, right? It works well on my skin. There's no doubt about it. So, as I've said before, if you don't like something in the initial blast, I don't think that should be that big of a deal, because me personally, you're going to spray this, you get ready for the day, then whether or not you commute or, it's a quick drive to work, a walk, whatever, by the time you get around others, it's going to be around a half hour, right? At the very least, or more. So my point is, during the time that I wouldn't like this fragrance at all, it's just when I'm, getting ready and heading off to work anyway. So I can live with that. Definitely a come from behind victory. It meandered dangerously close to the old folks' home. It did, right? The oak moss, the castoreum, the leather, the rose, carnations, bergamot, citrus. Okay, what are we doing here? Pine needles. But then it backed off and really turned out something mature, certainly. That's why I said for me, this is more 50 and up. It's certainly a mature scent, but I don't think it should be relegated in its entirety to the grandpa-ish label. I don't think so. So this has actually been a really, really fun fragrance. I wrestled with it, and my first impression of it was, oh man, I don't know about this. Then it went to even worse with the first half hour, and then it really developed over something very nice. In fact, I've told you before, with my ratings, I really get a good feel because I know my 3 out of 5 sprays, which is my system, 3, 4s, and 5s, especially the 4s and 5s, I really gravitate each day to wear it. I can't wait to review it. I'm looking forward to finding, more nuances about it. And that was the case here. I wore this one quite a bit, and I've enjoyed it. And then the 1s and 2s, it's like I feel like I'm getting almost like tired of wearing it before I get to Friday and review day. So this was not the case here. I really enjoyed this fragrance a lot. So if you like baseball, and if you like when your team is losing and then it comes from behind and wins the game, that really is One Man Show by Jacques Bogart. So I have certainly enjoyed that. So I'm going to go. This is an easy rating for me. I'm going to go with a solid 3 out of 5 sprays in my rating system, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to take one easily off for this dude. They threw in this aftershave, and I mean, I'm squeezing it really, really hard, and I mean, there's in fact there's nothing coming out. Look at that. I mean, there's nothing at all coming out, and just yesterday I got that much. So I'm definitely taking a spray off for this guy. In fact, it would have been better if they had just not included it, because it's almost like when you buy a bag of potato chips and then it has like 20% of the bag actually has chips in it. That's kind of how I feel about this. Thumbs down, and we dock a spray. I'm also going to dock a spray for the initial blast and the first half hour. It is carnation, beaver, castoreum, leather, 70s carpet, on and on. It has a very dated scent, and it's going to turn off a lot of the younger frag heads. That said, though, give it its full wearing, because after the first half hour, it really got great. In fact, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. So this one's an easy rating, 3 out of 5. I docked one spray for the Lamo aftershave. They shouldn't have even included. And then I'm going to dock a spray for the initial blast. Okay, so 3 out of 5 sprays for One Man Show by Jacques Bogart. Boom. Boom. Oh, yeah. And right on Celtic. Boom. I have really enjoyed this guy here. It's got a lot of... One thing you cannot say about that era is that they didn't have personality, right? So whatever you do, make sure you check this one out. Have a good time with it. It is a fun one. It's certainly mature, and it will take you back to a previous time, and enjoy it. So that is the review this week. Don't forget to let me know what your thoughts are for this particular fragrance and or your scent of the day, because I always like knowing what you are wearing today. Have a great weekend, and always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Okay, so welcome to the bonus feature. There's only one way we can end this, and because of trademark problems and everything, I'm just going to do it this way. Probably the easiest thing to do. So there's only one way we can do a bonus feature for One Man Show, otherwise known as Ben at TCG. Oh yeah. Yeah.